Joining me now, Jay Sekulow, Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice and author of Unholy Alliance, the agenda Iran, Russia, and jihadists share for conquering the world. Jay, welcome back. Let me congratulate you. I know that your book is on 3 separate New York Times bestseller lists. That's the same book, so congratulations.
Thank you, and thank your audience, too. It made a big difference.
Yeah, well, anytime. Our pleasure. Richard Pearl was just with us, and I asked him a question. I said, if you don't want to answer it, but he had an interesting answer. I said, who will you fear most, when you wake up after the election, if it's Hillary or Trump, who are we most likely to get into some kind of conflict under, whether it's in a month, a year, or 2 years into the presidency? He said 6 of one, half dozen of the other in that respect. He said Hillary for what she might do and Trump for what he might not be willing to do. I thought that was kind of an interesting answer.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of truth to it, actually, because you've got a situation with, as global events unfold, one thing you say about Hillary Clinton, and I don't like her policies, obviously, but it's predictable. The policy positions she will take are predictable, and her actions are predictable. Especially on the international front. I think she's more of an interventionist and so on. With Donald Trump, you just don't know. And that lack of not knowing, I think, that's why I think Rich Pearl make a statement like that. And I think it's a very accurate reflection on why we've got an election that is not only very close, but people are really confused and conflicted about what to do here.
How close do you think it is?
I think it is. Look, I've said this on our radio broadcast. I think it is razor thin. I think it's plus Clinton probably. Nationally, they're saying now the polls are +2. I think that means margin of error. I think Donald Trump traditionally underpolls. The question will be, will he underpoll? And this is the question you've got to ask. Is he going to underpoll in those battleground states by enough that he could swing it? I think it's too close to call. I mean, it was interesting. CNN moved both Florida and Nevada from leaning Democrat, leading to Clinton, to leaning towards Trump. And back to battleground status. So I think those are positives for Trump, but he's got to stay on message. I mean, the lack of message discipline has been a factor that he's had to deal with. And I know Steve Bannon and Kellyanne Conway are trying to keep him on message, but he's a business guy, and he talks with what he thinks. And the fact is, I do think that presents a challenge for a campaign when you're down to, as you know, Steve, the last 10 days, and we are 2 days away from those last 10 days. You know the knives are going to be out for Donald Trump.
And Jay, Dana Bash asked him about this yesterday, and I don't know how much money he's put in, but she asked him about more commercials. I've seen one commercial run. It's a nice commercial. It's the woman, the mother of a wonderful young man who was burned and killed by an illegal alien. But there's so much out there. He should have one that quotes from the emails talking about the Catholic email, bashing Catholics. He should have Jesse Jackson from the 90s praising the heck out of him, talking about all the good he's done for minorities to put an end to that narrative that he hates blacks and all that. I mean, there's so much on the table that I don't think we're ever going to get out there.
No, and I think you take it a step further. Then you add to it this whole disaster with this week with Obamacare, where the premiums are up some places 70, 100%, and that should be an ad. But it's not. You're right. For some reason they won't. The campaign's incapable, it seems like, the Trump campaign, of dealing with the substance. Where if this was, in one sense, if this was any other candidate, I think this election would be over.
Oh my God! But I just wonder. I mean, I don't know if they have any money left from that they raised, and if he's willing to write a check for this or not, because it's there for the taking. If we're really close, if he could push that in the last week and run those ads, $50 million worth or whatever in these battleground states, he could swing the whole election.
Well, look, I mean, Steve, I think it is that close. I mean, I think the Clinton people know it's that close. I think Trump's people know it's that close, obviously. It is razor thin. And, yes, you're right. Get out the vote. The question for Donald Trump, I've said this on our broadcast, can he turn those fans that come to those events into actual voters? And are they registered to vote? Because that's a whole other thing as well. So that's the real question I raise.
We got a minute. I want an answer from you. For the first time, I believe, at the U.S. Security Council, it might have been, we did not veto an anti-U.S. resolution that criticized the economic embargo against Cuba. That's outrageous. And could it be a forerunner to not using the veto power to allow a Palestinian state? You got 30 seconds.
I think this is the most, for Israel, we're about to enter in the most dangerous 72 days, the day after the election to the day the next president's sworn in. The Israelis need, and I do a lot of work with them, buckle their seatbelt.
Yeah, it's not good. Hey, congratulations again on the book Unholy Alliance by Jay Sekulow. Thank you, my friend. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, John Zogby joins us to talk the latest polls, plus Jennifer Rubin from the Washington Post. Did you see? Oh, my gosh, that interview with Bill O'Reilly. Was it an interview? She was embarrassing and really, really sad. I'm going to break down the tape in today's Gimme 5. Don't go away.